What did I just watch? that was very strange.
I liked the singing, though.
The singing was
The
nice.
singing was good.
And patriotic.
It was very patriotic.
Don't you forget about that.
Appropriately patriotic.
Appropriate. Well, because we're in the right country for the anthem, I suppose, is also the reason it was appropriate. We're back for Series 2 of tonight's OPL broadcast. We also are back to just remind you that we are going to be running a competition where we're giving away 2 tickets to the Melbourne Esports Open to see the OPL Grand Final in September. All you need to do is submit your best League of Legends story in 30 words or less using the hashtag IamOPL on Twitch or on Twitter. We are giving away some skins for the ones that get mentioned on broadcast as well, so don't forget that. And the best one, like I said, will be winning that double pass to the whole weekend, which will be a heap of fun. You'll get to see us. You'll get to see some amazing games. It's going to be awesome.
And 30 words is heaps. It might not feel like a lot, but like there's that Ernest Hemingway 6-word story. That
Like the saddest story ever written.
The best thing he thought he ever wrote, which was just baby, for sale, baby shoes never worn.
Yeah, which is a real bummer, and
Think
I'm glad
about
we brought it up. But the other thing that you could do with 30 words, you could do a haiku. So you don't know about this, but you're a storyteller. You're also quite learned, and you have 30 words to come up with a haiku about League of Legends.
Well, if it's a haiku, I have less words than that. I have 17 words.
Yeah, but you can have some like dud words in there that you've decided to cut for the final version.
All right, a League of Legends haiku in 575. The wind shakes the leaves, Sona's power cord flies out, GG, why you feed. There you go. Haiku, League of Legends haiku.
That was amazing. That was fantastic. I thought you had lost it there, and I was going to remind you that you have a bunch of extra words you can use, but then you actually brought it around. But now
it's poetry. Like
it is poetry.
I hope it moves you.
I mean, no.
Okay.
But we thought that we
Brutal.
could do something to inspire you guys as well, because the stories you're going to be making are about League lore, are about League the game, and we thought that maybe there are some places in the Runeterra map or on the Runeterra map that you don't know about, and we definitely know there are some places on the Runeterra map that Bryce does not know about. We thought we would play a little game.
We have a little game segment for you
called Runeterra or Remedy. Now, Bryce, I'm going to give you 2 words.
Yep.
One of the words is a location in Runeterra.
All right.
The other is a over-the-counter pharmaceutical you can buy at your local chemist.
Yeah, okay.
The first one, Ionia, Lonox.
Ionia.
Correct.
Is what?
Correct.
No, I'm going to pick the League of Legends one.
Okay.
So Ionia is the League of Legends.
Correct.
That is right. Home of Shen and Akali. Lonox, of course, being a generic off-brand medicine for diarrhea.
There you go. Which I feel like could come in handy for the broadcast because, you guys are there at the desk for a very long time. The second one, Delverhold or Deltasone?
Say that again.
Delverhold or Deltasone?
I think Delverhold is
You
the
gonna lock
League of
that in?
Legends one. Yeah, I'll lock it in.
That is correct. Delverhold,
Yes.
Mountain Fortress of the Freylord.
Hey.
Deltasone being a synthetic cortisone cream.
Okay.
So,
What is that for? Diarrhea or?
If you've got too much synthetics, that's why you put that on. The third one, Zirima, Zeratek.
Zirima.
Zirima.
I'm sensing a
The problem
theme.
here,
They're
the
all-
problem here is that Bryce just knows the name of the medicine.
Yes.
He is not. He's process of elimination. Like this.
And eliminating isn't that hard when you've only got 2 answers. So I got the smarts.
All right, no, Zerima is a merchant camp of Shurima. Zyrtec is, of course, good for hay fever and allergenic dogs.
By the way, I'm 3 from 3 right now, and Sharp was 0 from 6 in his game. So
That's true.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations, Bryce. On a public broadcast, you picked the one that wasn't the anti-diarrhea medicine. Some reason you had that knowledge in your
I'm
head.
claiming it. I'm claiming it.
The last one, Salazapyrene,
Oh.
Affinitor.
Affinitor. Affinitor. Affinitor.
I thought I had him with that
Were
one.
you? Was this you trying to train me with like A, B?
It was.
It is, it is, of course, a trick question. They are both medicines. Affinitor is a benign tumor medication, while salazapyrine is an anti-inflammatory. Congratulations, Bryce. You have won Runeterra or Remedy.
Yeah.
I've also fallen for the trap at the end. So
You
did
did.
I really
And-
win?
Yeah. Congratulations for knowing immediately every anti-diarrhea medication on the market. You have superior knowledge of the brands.
But I will say, what you didn't do is fall into the classic Sharp trap that was laid last week, admittedly by himself, which was to say, I'm like, here's the good score I'm going to get. I'm going to kill it. You started with, oh no.
I didn't start with, look, I've been playing League of Legends for 8 years. Look, I've had diarrhea for 8 years. I'm an expert on the field. No. Good.
We've killed Jake.
We have.
We've absolutely killed Jake. Jake, it looks like you need some Lonox.
Yeah. Can I interest you in a synthetic cortisone cream?
How about we apply a little Delver hold? Oh, no, wait, that's the Mountain Fortress.
Yeah.
Back to you guys at the desk.
Welcome back to the OPL, brought to you by Hungry Jacks. I'm Jake Spawn-Tiberi. Joining me still is Bryce Agent Paul. We're about to get into Legacy taking on Order Esports.
Yep.
Order has never beaten Legacy Bryce in a couple of cracks at it. Knocked out of last split's gauntlet by them.
Bit of a
What are your
rivalry
thoughts on this
brewing
one
here,
here?
you know? The captain for Legacy is a Melburnian boy. So maybe that has something to do with it. What do you reckon?
Potentially could. However, guys, as we get into this one, let's just bring the rosters up onto your screen. It's going to be Mimic in the top lane, only in the jungle. Claire from Melbourne in the mid lane for Legacy. Raid and Decoy are their bottom lane. Lucio Solstrax Park is their coach. Of course, they fly as one. And this is a lineup that right now is second last on the ladder.
Yep.
Looked okay at Rift Rivals. And since then, has kind of looked very strange.
Yep, much more successful at Rift Rivals than domestically, you know. And last week was interesting because every week coming into the OPL, you're like, Legacy, let's look at Claire, let's look at Mimic and how only can like get to their lanes. But last week it was Raid popping off, so it's unsuspected members stepping up here. The bottom lane they've tried to play through in the past. They played the They played the Lucian Braum.
Yep.
And that has been an absolute failure. They're not losing lanes, but you don't pick that to go even. But last week on the Swain, on the Zyra Khan, they looked pretty good. So I think it is good signs for Legacy.
Is it a different story going up against FBI and Rogue and the rest of the Order line up on your screen? Tally in the top lane, Spooks in the jungle, Swiffer is their captain and mid laner. FBI and Rogue, two halves of one of the better bottom lanes in the OPL, of course. Aaron Choo-Choo's Bland is their coach. And this is an Order lineup that went 0-2 versus Chiefs last week. Very competitive game one. Game number two, a little bit more of a wash.
And that's the thing. Game number one, they were up like after an early skirmish that led Spooks to having a big lead on the Trundle. They were up like 6,000-7,000 gold. Ultimately could not close it out. At a certain point, like Swiper on the Mundo was just way too tanky, eating up so much CC. Shockwaves weren't landing onto multiple members like they needed it to. And then game number two, they fell down. So despite it was a 0-2 and they took home 0 points, it wasn't a complete stomp, but they're definitely looking a little bit shaky.
Certainly could be the case. Legacy going to be on the blue side, Order going to be on the red side. It's going to be Galio banned away first. That seems to be just a ban that you throw at Order at the moment. Aatrox will also join it. Morgana goes down.
When you have the flexibility with a support like Rogue that will just blind pick the Rakan, that will blind pick the alley, when you have Camille player in the top side, Camille jungler in Spooks, things like that. You have so many options to pair with the Galio, so they just removed that threat. Swiffer has shown his propensity to pick that one up, so makes sense, especially on the blue side when you have that flexibility.
Lucian also going to be banned away. This seems to be an Order staple ban, and Rakan hits the bench. Generally, that's first pickable.
Order were the first team to just start blinding up the Rakan for Rogue in the bottom lane, and now Legacy add themselves to the second team of the day to just ban both of the top tier supports. So,
well, Rakan Vlad, Rakan Swain, Rakan Yasuo were all good lanes.
Yep.
And then Rakan Xayah is a good lane as well. So it kind of forces the other team to either take Xayah and therefore give over still a very, very good lane, and you have to play Xayah without Rakan, which at the moment just seems to be
pretty stinky.
Crappy. But, you know, they ban it away. It's going to be Kindred.
Yeah, they do respect that one. If Series 1 taught us anything, it would be a Pyke first pick, but Legacy going back to basics here. Maybe this is not going to be the game against FBI and Rogue that they play through their bottom side, and they just go super defensive with the Ezreal.
That is a very strange first pick. Ezreal, when he is incredibly powerful, thinking Runic Echoes mid lane Ezreal days, jungle Ezreal days.
Yep.
His power came from the fact that he could go aggressive because he was overtuned, but also he could play multiple roles.
Yep.
Right now, Ezreal is in neither
Can't
of
mid.
those states. Can't mid,
jungle.
can't jungle, and honestly, even as an AD carry, he's good, but he needs items to come online.
Yeah, he is coming back into the meta. We saw at the height of mages, at the height of funnels, he was kind of seen absolutely nowhere. And traditionally, in a draft phase, from just a broad picture perspective, blue side is the power pick team. Like, things are left open and you just first pick something big. Legacy have completely flipped the switch here, and they just go for an Ezreal first pick that shows absolutely nothing. That means they do give over power picks that Order have played time and time again, like the Ali, like the Taliyah, but they're obviously opting into this sort of strat.
Yeah, and both Spooks and Swiffer have played the Taliyah, so it's not necessarily going to be the jungle pickup right now. However, that Nidalee most likely is going to be the jungle pickup for Only. He is a big Nidalee player, and it will be an Orianna pickup, and a Kai'Sa is locked in. Kai'Sa's gone completely MIA in the OPL.
Too short range to deal with mages, to deal with Ryze, Vladimir, stuff like that. Have not seen her for a very long time, and she was one of the best funnelers before people figured out Xayah Rakan were really good in the mid lane together, but
Super Kai'Sa.
Since that point, yeah, she was one of the OGs. Since that point has been absolutely nowhere, but coming back into the meta, she's by no means bad. In terms of AD carries, we're now seeing more Caitlyn, more Xayah, more crit AD carries like a Tristana here and there, whereas Xayah still probably wants to go for the Guinsoo's and stuff like that. Still is a late game monster, but when paired with an ally, you can go aggressive early.
So is that what we're expecting to see? Ginsu's, Nash's, Death Cap?
Like, there's been no changes in terms of like the AP build path. It's probably the better of the two. If they put Taliyah in the jungle and they have a tanky top side with Swiffer on a traditional mage, then maybe you do just see an AD Kai'Sa because you need the AD threat. But I feel like in isolation, AP Kai'Sa is still probably the better build.
Tahm Kench as well as Braum banned away, so a couple of the melee supports taken off the board. Xin Zhao, a ban towards Spooks.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nidalee doesn't deal with Xin all that great unless you catch him out.
Yep, respecting the fact that Taliyah can be flexed here and there. And I feel like the Braum Tahm Kench bans, to me, just speak that Order want to play towards the bottom side of the map. They have the alley, they're banning away the tanky disengage options. They have the Kai'Sa, the ability to go aggressive. They probably have a priority jungler if they get the Taliyah in there. And that would be an interesting lock-in. We could be the second Aurelion Sol for the day, but...
An Azir hover. You mentioned you watched an Azir versus a Xerath game.
Yep.
I've seen a couple of them as well. Let me tell you, I kind of do wish he remained nerfed. I'm not a massive fan of either of those champions.
Promote super slow games as FBI is going to hover between the two. Does he just go back to something else? And he does. So it will be the second Aurelion Sol. And this is a very high-tempo game from Order already. You have the scaling, traditional mage in the Orianna. You have the Ezreal tier builder only on the Nidalee, things like that. And Order are just going full-out aggression. They have the alley, priority mid laner in Aurelion Sol, priority pushing jungler like the Taliyah, and that's obviously the game plan.
Certainly appears to be that. Also saving counterpick for Tally, someone that historically has struggled against Mimic. You know, the sleeper agent meme was kind of born off the back end of the fact that Mimic has been able to get advantages against that man on your screen.
And then the other man that was on the screen before, Choo Choo's, after the sleeper agent was already in.
We inserted a second
brought
sleeper
in a
agent.
buddy. You know, I don't think they counter each other out. I think that just makes the situation a little bit worse across the board, but... There we go. That's going to be the rest of the lock-ins for Legacy, and they do go for a very defensive support in the Shen, but if I'm looking at this draft and what we've been talking about for Order, they want to play towards the bottom side. Shen defends your top. He defends the Gnar, because you can stand united across the map, but most teams want to pick on the Shen, and that's exactly what I think Order want to do.
This looks like a split one Legacy comp. You know, ignore the fact that it's only playing Nidalee, and it probably would have been Sybil playing Kha'Zix or Elise versus Order.
Yep.
But this is a highly difficult team fighting comp to pull off. You got Gnar that needs to get the perfect hop into Orianna ball into probably Shen taunt for you to have enough safety to go up against a team that honestly, for lack of a better term, is going to bomb rush you.
Yep. Would you call it a mallet comp?
Yeah, this is 100% a mallet.
Point and click engage from Alistar. You got big long range engage from the Orb.
You got the Death Star coming out of Aurelion Sol, and then you've just got damage in the roles that you need damage.
Because if you look at Order pre-Rift Rivals, before the tournament was played, like they were just blind picking Ornn at that stage, and it was a few weeks back, but it kind of fell off the table when funnels were running around, stuff like that. Priority was skewed a little bit, but now just back towards that matchup, and Legacy, as you mentioned, they have that more finesse composition, and I feel like looking at this game, looking at the top jungle 2v2, and I honestly want to get Soul Strike's opinion as we're going to talk to him fairly soon, but Mimic and Only have not looked like they're good on the same page. They've had so many dives between them throughout the course of the split that have gone horrendously wrong, and it's like a little bit of a meme to be like, oh, that was awful, what was going wrong? But the fact that it is consistent and has been constantly happening over the split, I feel like for Order, if they're just going to want to push down bottom side and play that, then the obvious answer for Legacy is the top side, and that's going to come into fruition.
Well, you have two options. Mammoth certainly tried to fight fire with fire, against the Direwolves. Every single play Direwolves went for, Mammoth tried to beat them there, and then ultimately lost the maximum, because if you're playing the same side of the map and you lose, it is very painful. Or you can try and split. Potentially what Legacy is going to do here. We are onto Summoner's Rift. Game number 1 of Legacy versus Order. As you mentioned, it's a bit of a grudge match. Legacy holding the head-to-head 2-0. Very impressive. We are joined by Soulstrike's head coach of Legacy. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad.
So last week, the players interested me a little bit because they said that Carbon had been spending a lot more time with the team. What is Carbon exactly doing on the... Is it coaching side? Is it management side? Or how is he helping you out at the moment?
Well, he goes through, like, he talks to everyone, like, individually. So he has a, like, very good leadership role model behind him. So everyone, like, listens to him really well. And Tim just helps him, like, both mentally and, like, gives him knowledge in the game.
And I want to ask, I don't know if you heard me talking about as you're walking into the room. For me, looking at these two drafts, I feel like Legacy are going to want to pick on Tally at the top side. You have Only on the Nidalee, you have Mimic on the Gnar. If that comes to fruition, are you worried about your top jungle's 2v2 ability to successfully turret dive a top laner, or is that not something you're scared of?
Yeah, that's something that we had trouble in the past, but, like... it's more, Nidalee's more of a, like, she's going to be attacking, like, Tilia in the jungle, whereas, like, the dive potential, it has to be, like, a Mega Gnar timing, so, like, the timing is very short, so I'm sure Only's going to look for Tilia more so than the Ornn itself.
And my weekly check-in with the meta update with Soulstrike's about to take place right now. We do this, you know, pretty much every time we chat, but now we see the most standard League of Legends we have arguably seen in a year. Soulstrike's?
Yeah.
Not much has changed. What happened?
I think people are going back to, like, the comfort and, like, and the funnel champ got nerfed, and like, as the ADCs has been, like, getting a lot more popularity, and, like, Mages is still strong, but they did get a couple of nerfs.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck. That was Soulstrike's head coach of Legacy Esports. Spooks, during that time, took himself a couple of camps as well as a Scuttlebutt, as did Only.
Also, Spooks has gone towards the brand spanking new Samsung Galaxy Talia skin. Looks pretty fresh, you know. The outline on the flick looked pretty cool. Got himself some fancy new wings, and maybe now this means that Swiffer and Ryoma, if they ever face off again, have another skin to play for. Yeah,
potentially do. See Swiffer trading HP very aggressively, trying to push up in this lane. However, they have caught vision of Only, who will go forward. Now they're collapsing onto him. Spooks is there in time. Wall surfing. Will get the flick and actually gets the flash out of Only.
Very respectful flash. Is the right decision at that point. Spear actually lands onto Spooks, so no flick available. Only's looking.
Yeah, certainly is. Flash now out of Spooks. They will get some nice damage down, but the electrocute is there. First blood picked up for Legacy's jungle.
And the outplay from Only. Sure, Spooks had Swiffer in his back pocket on the initial play, but can't dodge the spear, so he gets taken down. And all of a sudden, the Aurelion Soul very early, and the map is underneath this turret. That's not where you want to be.
Well, Swiffer left to try and help, which gave Claire access to the wave. Spooks certainly getting outplayed there.
Because there's also been a few interesting things going on in the mid lane already. During the interview, Swiffer actually hit level 2 second because Claire, like, targeted one of the minions and took it down to hit level 2 before Swiffer did. Spear lands again.
Yeah, this time Flick is available, so Spooks should just be able to exit the jungle.
And he just can't get a camp right now. He's going to have to walk all the way back towards bot side. Infernal Drake is the one to spawn, so that's a big deal, and maybe just looks to counter jungle away, but that's an engage in the bottom lane.
Yeah, certainly is. Raid already on no health. If that proc goes through, we'll take even more damage. The W misses.
But Spook's about to face check the Orianna here. Claire Ping went immediately down bot side. They knew exactly what options Spooks had available, so this Nidalee matchup going incredibly well early. Spooks has spent probably about 1.5 minutes just not even farming a camp so far, and the best he's going to get is a pink ward.
To be fair, there's no camps available too far. His whole jungle's on cooldown. Only took 2 camps. He took the other 3 beforehand on the bottom side. Now we'll get some access to Only's jungle off the back end of Only's reset.
Persistent comes up the goods here, so has the Aurelion Soul to float over. Does he actually get this in time? Spear is available, but gets the smite, so still a level down, but finds the counter jungle.
Yeah, very good of Only to be there when the camp is being taken, because at least he puts it on immediate reset. Nidalee is one of those junglers that if you get ahead of the clock, you farm incredibly quickly. So you want to make sure that all your camps are reset as often as possible.
Yep. Especially when you have a mid laner like Orianna into Aurelion Soul that you're not like looking to gank for. You need the CC to set up a spear, so Only, as Soulstrike's mentioned, just wants to be playing the jungle matchup, and that's exactly what you're seeing once again. Spooks took down the Gromp and is now tracking topside, actually.
Mid lane, you can see that it's going to be Nidalee coming in again. Swiffer will dodge out of that spear. Is running absolute focus. No, not the adaptive shield as well. Spear will go wide.
That is absolute focus, right? No, nullifying. Orb.
Nullifying, yeah.
That's the one.
Absolute focus if you're over 70% health, again, adaptive damage.
Absolutely does. So gets forced out of mid lane. Neither mid laner actually blows a summoner. Claire obviously having that barrier for the extra safety. Doesn't have the last tick of an ignite or any combat summoner to take down Swiffer with only walking around. And he does get a very nice spawn on the Scuttle Crab. Top side where he already was, so only going to take that one down immediately and just continue to try and farm up as much as possible. Yeah,
a lot of priority up there. You can see that with the level 6 and the Mega Gnar, they are potentially going to look for a dive. However, as Lucio said, it is all about the timing, and it's not there now.
Timing just slightly off as Mega Gnar does time out. We see, dependent on matchup, summon Airy on Gnar, but this time into a big fat tank like the Ornn goes for the press the attack. So starts with the Doran's Blade. It's not Pabu with a Cull. Goes a little bit more safely here with the Doran's, but just wants to pressure him out on the laning phase. Swiffer will find himself a cheeky pink ward.
Also some fruit there if he wants to have a quick snack, which he does. Dragons need nutrition and sustenance too.
Eating that with his chest.
Okay.
That is a weird...
I mean, I don't judge how you eat food.
I put it in my mouth most of the time.
Yep.
Every now and again it falls down on my shirt. It's a bit of a disaster. That's actually happened on broadcast once.
Eating is more difficult than people give credit for. As Ray takes another bad trade down in this bottom lane. It's a BF sword pickup.
Yeah.
For FBI. So, no gizness.
Yeah. Okay. Wonder if he just goes for like the crit 80 carry build where they go for a Storm Razor into like rapid PD static shiv into a IE. Just goes for a standard crit build. I said in Champ Select if they pick an AP mid laner, you probably expect him to trend that way, and they have a tank top, so there's no real other source of sustained 80 carry or AD damage rather. This is something you mentioned last time. We saw the tier into BF build. For many weeks and many patches, we haven't really seen this been a reality, but all of a sudden Raid has to TP back to lane. He has the teleport, whereas Rogue and FBI have gone for the straight combat summoners, so he's getting pressured out a little bit.
And even though they have a very good early game going for themselves, Legacy, the fact that they've handed off blue buff in such an obvious manner means that Order have started up the Fire Drake for themselves, and will pick it up nice and early.
Very nice RNG there as they pick that one up. Raid gets a nice little Q onto Rogue. Level 6 is not yet hit for the bottom lane, and that really is the point at which this matchup can turn, and Ali can start looking for the all-in where Kai'Sa can follow. Dodging the Shen Taunt becomes name of the game for FBI, more so than anything, because Ali will be able to land a combo, but your ability to follow up is really what makes the kill, so if you can dodge that with a flash or an ulti, then there is that kill threat there. Spooks getting pressured out by Claire, but he did find himself for just a few moments stuck between two champions and a wall.
You can see right now that they're looking at Only as well. So pressure continually coming into this jungle. However, Only does tag up Swiffer with a spear.
And it is about the mid priority, right? Because Only pressuring out Spooks very early on the map, had that level lead. Now he's basically equalized, and there's only, what, a camp and a half between them. Because Swiffer, especially once he gets blue buff, and he has the dematerializer here, just insta-clears the wave and is shoving Claire in. It's allowed Spooks to kind of get back into the matchup.
And this is the annoying thing for Claire, is he was like, ooh, good trade, I just won that one. And he's like, damn it, whole creep wave underneath my turret. Not running minion dematerializer obviously impacts that. But now Swiffer gets a reset, and Claire will get first access to this wave and needs to make it work. But just continually being outpaced by the Aurelion Soul's ability to do this.
And it becomes a mind game of if Claire can then get a base off. Actually, hold that thought. Only goes, very smart play there. Spears onto the Raptors to get the leap into range of the red buff. Spooks.
See whether he goes for it here, because Spooks does have Smite. Only will go back over the wall. Very nicely done.
And that is something only a jungler with, like, what, 500 Nidalee games?
Yeah, he's a big Nidalee player.
Would know. Spear onto the Raptor to get himself closer to the red buff. Steals that one away immediately. Gets out with a nice little hop over the wall. So showing his mastery of the champion. Going for an old school skin as well. And this might just be the dive on the top side. Mega Gnar is about to be popped here for Mimic.
Certainly is. However, there is stopwatch available also for Tally. And there just doesn't seem to be enough damage coming out of the Gnar at this point. He's got the 2 rubies as well as the boots. See, the float is coming through from Swiffer.
Spot him on a ward, so he doesn't get to steal away the golems here. He still does actually show back on that ward in the top tri-bush, so Mimic underneath the turret, still pressuring, and Tally knows that the Nidalee is there, but That's a whole lot of vision bot side.
Certainly is. We said they wanted to play bot side versus top side. Well, Nidalee has been up in the top lane for about the last, couple of minutes, and now Spooks is just headed into the bottom side jungle. So map certainly being split right now.
So has Swiffer. Raid and Decoy, because of no action in the bottom lane, both still have flash available. They do back off the wave, and Order don't pull the trigger on the play. So Legacy have to respect it, and until the Aurelion Sol or the Taliyah actually show, they don't know if they can walk back up to the turret, walk up to defend it. So Order, despite not even having to burn a cooldown, get themselves first brick here. Rogue almost forgot to give it all to FBI, but luckily the last second he remembers he's an Order support, so FBI gets absolutely everything.
They do talk about it a lot more now. I think one of the concerns when FBI and Rogue played together again, and something that I voiced, is you used to see when Sin's bottom lane ran out of base, sometimes they would get to nearly tier 2 of bot before they turn around and start running top lane. Certainly mechanically gifted. However, those kinds of conversations have started to increase. Spooks splits the map again, just takes another chicken camp away.
To further your point, I also think it's to do with the item breakpoint on the support more so than the AD carry.
No, absolutely it does.
If it gets you Moby boots, then it's probably like 90% worthwhile in most cases to just get you to that so you can move around the map. If you actually get out of lane phase with the Sightstone already completed, which Rogue has, because of the Relic, they get it pretty early. It means that he can roam around, get those wards. It was Spooks that placed the vision a little bit earlier for them to set up that bot play, and if you can allow Ali to do that, then it's a big deal.
And just talk to me about that. How are you coordinating your wards with your jungler? What is the importance of that? As actually, hold that thought, because Swiffer will get the stun. Shockwave will land. Good damage coming out, but Rogue is also there.
Get a huge chunk, and coordinating with your jungler is super important. You saw Rogue and FBI right then contesting the river. Rogue and Spooks contesting the river together. Taliyah very squishy, and you saw if Nidalee lands a spear, then you die almost immediately. So bringing a tanky cow down makes your life a whole lot easier, especially when you have a jungler with a whole lot of damage and a support with a whole load of CC. And it just means that Legacy's bottom lane right now, they feel afraid to contest the river because they knew Rogue was down there. They
Big damage onto Ray, took the W in the face as well as the Q. Deagloo will turn around and start getting some damage, but you can see that already this 80 carry build is working out.
Yep. Sheen now picked up with the pickaxe of the Ezreal, so packs his own punch, but because of the item breakpoints for the last, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. There's about a 20 CS lead between the two. Had to back away from the turret, so first brick advantage going over to FBI, and the gold from the CS means it's slightly further ahead.
And I wonder if it's replicatable on the top side of Summoner's Rift, what they did, cheating 2 members into vision, taking down the turret, or whether because now, only has himself the upgraded jungle item as well as the Rift Herald, potentially could race on the other side of the map, because Nidalee takes turrets very quickly.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's got a lot more to do with the Rift Herald as we actually go into a pause, because you mentioned the race on the other side of the map. If you're racing with your bottom lane and a jungler, chances are you have the numbers advantage because you're racing with your bottom lane versus their top, so 2 to 1 man advantage. But Rift Herald really skews that because she does more damage than any single champion will to a turret, and Legacy can just not trade 1 turret, but they can trade 2 on the other side of the map, and it gets super rough, so definitely skews the little racing matchup there.
Yeah, she's really strong. She's about as strong as, an old school Banner of Command minion.
Yeah.
Thank goodness those things aren't in the game anymore. But I also want to talk about, both of the teams have the ability to just trim the wave from range. Ezreal ultimate, very good for that. But Ornn ultimate also can be used pretty creatively in that way.
And that's the thing. It not only knocks them up, so in a race, in terms of side lane, obviously this one wouldn't be first brick, so it's not all that impactful. But when you get to Nexus turrets and stuff like that, you can look at the nitty gritty and be like, Ornn ulti is clearing the wave while CCing champions, so there's that extra bonus, and all of a sudden the small things matter a great deal.
So what have you made of the early game so far? Not much action. That first kill from Only onto Spooks and a couple of repeats into the red buff. Certainly trying to take it to him early, but map seems to be favouring Order for now.
And it's frustrating from both sides, because we saw what happened to an Aurelion Sol in the first set if you fall behind, and that has kind of happened to Swiffer a little bit in this respect because his jungler got countered early. Only had that very good contest into the jungle, took down Spooks and then forced him out, so Legacy had that advantage. They have the Nidalee getting through sort of that early side and ramping up. That means that Swiffer, instead of using his priority to force into side lanes, has just used priority to get Spooks back in the game.
Yep.
Whereas Legacy on the other side of the map, it's kind of frustrating that the Aurelion Sol, despite in the mid-jungle 2v2 getting put in a hole, is now just equalizing in pressure, so the Nidalee hasn't run over the map.
Swiffer walking forward, trying to cancel out, will actually be able to do so. That's everyone going over the wall. Shen ulti coming out, Tally's already here. Deco will go down. They throw the Ornhorn at only, and that is a cancel coming out of Mimic.
And straight out of a pause into the action order, get the one pick. It is only Decoy that dies on the backside. Unfortunately, saves the Nidalee, but costs his own life. But the big deal cancelling.
Flick is there. Mimic comes over. That's going to be a lot of persistent damage. Gets the hyper proc. Spear will not land. It tickles Tally's bum, but they just walk away.
And as you mentioned, they do just walk away. I'd be interested to see what the Dragon is, and it is only an Ocean. That means Order don't commit.
I would say that's pretty good for Tally.
Too hard.
If he can get a couple of Oceans under his belt, whilst, you know, FBI is sitting there saying, fire, fire, fire.
Yeah.
Tally is probably saying, give me triple Ocean Drakes against an R, please, RNGesus.
So they get a mix of both. Fire into Ocean.
Another Ocean coming up next.
Yeah, maybe Tally's bloody picked it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you're in a range versus melee matchup in the top lane, you get 2 Oceans early, the game is not as difficult as it was before that.
Because what's the percentage? I actually forget. Is it like 2-4-6? Actually, I have no idea.
I'm not going to pretend that I know.
I feel like...
Normally, I'm real good at lying on broadcast about things I have no idea about, but this one, I'll be so far from the truth.
I feel like it might be 2-4-6.
Because what you want to do is you just want to bridge to the Warmogs. Eventually, Tally's going to get a Warmogs, and then he won't care about the harass.
He's going to buy an Ocean.
Yeah, but you don't get that instantly. And because Heart of Warmogs, it's called something like that, now is much more HP required.
Yeah, gated at 3k HP.
Yeah, you generally get it as a 3rd item as opposed to a 2nd. Sometimes I really am amazed at my inability. For a 12 is Ocean Drake. It just came back to me.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
There wasn't a little voice in your ear that maybe checked backstage and gave you a cheeky little bit of insight?
Thank you, observers.
There's everything stabilizing across the board with no Shen ulti, with Rogue using his flash to get into the last fight.
Rogue wants in on raid. Remember, any CC will tag it up for FBI to be able to fly into the back line.
And that's actually Mimic going between the 2 turrets. He has only in the back pocket. Spear goes wide.
Certainly does, but they're still going to try and continue the harass. However, members are heading down now from Order, and Mimic is just caught on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift. That is a ghost pop from Tally. And very nicely played from Claire now. However, only will fall down, so Jungler's just getting picked on. That's Swiffer picking up the kill. No ultimates available, however. Tally will dash away, and Claire will look to continue the fight.
And Claire is an absolute monster. Cancels Spooks from the wall. That's a flashless Talia, so he drops immediately. Maybe a little bit of revenge. You know how Spooks tweeted earlier in the week? Was like, oh, talking about the real OGs and mentioned Swiffer, mentioned Swiper, but didn't mention Claire. You know, he's been back from way back and didn't get his time in the spotlight, and Claire makes him pay.
Rogue channeling Hex Flash there over the wall, doing you very proud. Decoy taking about 30% of his health there from a combo. Swiffer, obviously not happy with the deploy, running top lane. That's a flash having to be burnt.
Yeah, Raid playing it very defensively. Took about 70% of his HP, so all of a sudden, Order, despite trading 1 forward on the bot side, it means that Mimic gets to shove in, take down this turret, and Tally has no ulti, but they just get to deploy completely on the top side. Claire now without a shockwave, but we're actually going to see this one again. They go pretty early, and the timing is a little bit off if they want to dive straight up, but they're just looking for the poke at this point. This isn't a botch dive. They're just looking to get down that damage, but the fact that Tally targets Mimic means that he has to dodge around for just so long. He's caught on the wrong side of the map. There we see the cancel. Any damage puts you off the Weaver's wall, so Claire with a very nice play. That does mean only dies because the wall blocked off the rest of the cleanup, and Tally just dashes himself out of danger.
Yeah, Legacy very courageous walking next to that wall. Potential for a lot of damage to still come out of Swiffer and Tally at that stage. However, Claire is a big boy, has a kill. 164 CS, only 17 minutes. Actually going to be able to take down FBI in a 1v1. Will get the Shen ultimate. However, that's a flash out of FBI trying to outplay, but the Shadow Dash comes through.
And that's both Summoners burn from FBI in a losing situation. Shen ulti over the top means there's absolutely no way he's going to take down Claire, and That was alone. He has Rogue deployed into the middle lane before, but opting for the recall and then fights immediately.
That's a Hex Flash over a wall, and that is a dead 80 carry. Meanwhile, they knock up Claire. Is the ultimate available for the slow? It is, and Tally's just sprinting forward, gets the knock up. That's the double kill. Now Decoy has to go golden, but you can just see how long these takes. Can stay under the turret. It is doing nothing to Tally. He's been there for a lifetime.
And both of these compositions rely so heavily on their buttons. Claire had no shockwave and Decoy had no ultimate. So all of a sudden they find the pick onto Raid and there's absolutely nothing that can be done to keep him alive. So despite the 4 versus 5, Order just bounced back with 3 kills.
Certainly do. Looks like after Storm Rager it is still going to be Gwinsus as we take another look.
Stun lands, so he dies immediately. Tally does very well to close this gap with the Glory and not target the ulti onto the Ezreal, who was already dead, and that's just a very easy cleanup. Stopwatch buys a little bit of time, but there's so much CC. Combo, very short range from Rogue, actually lands, doesn't fumble that one. And they're going to get the turret in the back end.
And very Split 1-esque out of Legacy. 0-0-0. Nah, for Mimic. However, has done his role in the side lane.
Yep.
Just that his team, after getting a pick, overextends, doesn't wait for him to get a wave in. You know, maybe prematurely trying to siege down that turret. And then, what does Anada do? You can't teleport as Mini. It just doesn't work that way.
Auto attacks aren't that effective. Chunk onto Rogue. Does a fair amount of damage, and you did mention it's not the standard crit build. He does go for the Gwinsu second on the Kai'Sa, so pretty interesting there. Fighting over the Rift Scuttler right now. Tally's actually 1v1 versus an Ezreal, and Order eventually win the war in the river, rather.
Rogue taking a little bit more damage. Raid had to already burn the E. You can see retreat full blown. Meanwhile, Swiffer flashing over a wall, very low health. Mimic going to be looking for him. Ultimate has been used by Swiffer, and he will get shut down.
Easy pick up there for Mimic. Boomerang is enough to finish the job, and they didn't really have to burn any cooldowns, but they're looking.
Ornhorn again, this time just used to try and... Oh, Claire actually goes very low. Tally onto the back line again, looking to take him out, and will be able to do so. Mimic, meanwhile, is trying to fight the back line. Cannot get anything done. Will get a stun into the wall, but will fall. And now you have Tally, who is just unkillable, chasing down Raid. The knock-up registers, only has to flash away. Flashed after it is going to be Tally. He is so low. 20 minutes into this game, the tag is there, but Order should head for Baron.
And such a split fight. FBI gets such a deep dive onto the back line, takes down Claire on the back end as well, takes down Raid. And if you're fighting split with frontline fighting the back line, we're going to see what happens to Swiffer here. Just gets caught in the middle lane. Shockwave used very early, and speed up closes the gap for Mimic. And as you mentioned, Order, they're just straight on the Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the rest of this fight continue. Once again, it is just Tally's ultimate starting this up. Gets it onto Claire, and he has to flash away and just gets blown up.
100%. And look at how quickly Mimic dies on the backside to Spooks and Rogue versus Tally just living for so incredibly long. The split focus there from Raid and only. They don't go onto the Ornn or FBI on the Kai'Sa. They just kind of, one of them goes on one each, and ultimately it costs them. And Order just clean up on the back end.
And once again, these mallet comps for Order, they just feel like, you know, they use too many kills for one pick onto Swiffer. We're the team fighting team, we can still fight. Whereas if you've got these, you know, hard to execute compositions with Nidalee, with Orianna, sometimes it does become a question of how much can we use to pick one person.
And that's the thing, right? Because Order have now forced and won 2 4 versus 5 fights. Sure, Raid wasn't at the beginning of that one, so maybe it started 4 versus 4. He got there eventually, but that's twice they've lost a member and then immediately, because Shockwave has been down, just forced another one. So back to back, they're going to get themselves the second Ocean Drake. Is it going to be a third, or is it going to be something else? And it's actually just going to be a third Ocean Drake. You called it. Tally's feeling pretty good.
Certainly is. This lane, now very hard for Mimic to win. Baron buff creeps, Nah doesn't deal with well. And double Ocean Drake is, honestly, pain in the bum.
Absolutely. Super rough. As Tara's just going to start falling down across the board. Legacy have one of their own, but with the Baron buff and with the ability to force in almost every lane, you expect Order to try and explode their gold lead somewhat. Triforce not yet completed for Raid. He went for the early Manamune Sheen pickup and chose to finish that item before the Triforce, so still working on his 2-item spike, whereas FBI is absolutely there.
You can see a big collapse on this mid lane wave. They throw out the Ornhorn again. Knockup is going to be there, however, no creep wave yet. The FBI wasn't in range.
Yeah, maybe a little bit premature on their main engage tool here. It's really going to rely on Rogue with the flash to get anything done whilst the Ornhorn is on cooldown. Spooks trying to steal away a red buff. He's unsuccessful.
He's being a serial pest this game. However, they're going to try and pincer Raid against the wall. Tally runs in very quickly. Flash headbutt pole, very nice shockwave, but already FBI into the back line is tearing Legacy apart. That's already a double kill. Make it a triple from Mimic. Do they get another turret? No, they will just back away.
And the decisiveness from Rogue time and again is just so successful for Order. The immediate flash and FBI follows into the backside of that team fight, absolutely cleaning up.
And that means they will break the base 23 minutes into this game. No, looks like they will back away. They'll play it safe. Spooks go so low, taking up that turret.
Waiting for the next wave, but there's just no wave clear between the two. Nidalee just throwing spears, trying to be annoying. Ezreal doing the same with a Mystic Shot, and ultimately no way they're going to contest this one. Decoy has Stand United, so if Order stick around and try any shenanigans, there's definitely chase potential from the Nidalee, from the Ezreal, but they do the right thing. They just back away.
Certainly do. Take another look at it.
Weave as well comes out to buy some time to get to the turret and kind of baits Legacy into a false sense of security to walk up towards the turret. They want to defend it over the wall, and it just means they clump up behind their turret. Rogue immediately flash combo into the backline, and these compositions, if the engage is successful, I'm just watching it, I'm just like, it's done. As soon as the engage lands onto one carry, maybe two carries even, that's ideal, and they just drop. Legacy, there's nothing they can do.
And Claire, unfortunately, is now having to make the hard choice that Swiffer had to make last week against the Chiefs, which is you need to blow someone up in these team fights to be successful. But if you don't have Banshee's Veil, Rogue is coming for you every single time in these fights.
In the decision tree of can I blow them up or do I want to get blown up?
Yep.
You have to favor yourself, so he has to go defensive here. Swiffer now with the Baron timing out. They broke the mid in hit, but now just looking to pressure bottom hand side of the map. Gold lead up to about 7,000 here between the two teams.
Swiffer now on split push duty. Very safe champion at getting the wave in is Aurelion Sol, as Mimic gets spotted out in that brush.
FBI hits him with a 3. Trying to get himself a recall here, as Mininow is just going to pop out. Probably going to get cancelled again. Throws a space machine or a big drill. Raid looking for something, dashes forward, but he just gets an emote from FBI.
And you can see FBI right now is 3 levels up. However, that is a very nice... It didn't hit. Ultimate will be used as well to just get a little bit more. Nice 3-man shockwave, but an even bigger Aurelion Sol pushed back into the 2-man knockup from Na, and they will... from On, and they will just continue forward. You can see Rogue is just walking at them, will eventually fall down. However, that is with 3 members dead, potentially Order looking to push in the bottom.
And that almost looks like best case scenario to start a fight. Sure, Shen misses the taunt, he's going to drop, but Claire lands a huge wombo onto multiple people, but there's just no follow-up from anyone else. Order looking to break the second part of the base. They still have 20 seconds and about half a wave on both the solo laners, and they're continuing to push.
And as we said, there's no wave clear in this group. So even though they have 2 carries up and available, no one can kill the creeps quick enough, so they will just take down the turret. Probably should back away because Decoy is now up and available.
But has no flash. The taunt went wide last time. Ray doing a little bit of damage to Tally, but 3 range champions here from Order. Spooks is, incredibly low.
And this is the potential play that they might be looking for. Spooks so low, Tally so low. They do have themselves the Air Drake. Spooks trying to get next to that wall to surf away.
I'm surprised they're continuing the chase and Raid hasn't TP'd in behind them. They have that pink ward in the tri-bush. They wanted to commit super hard, but ultimately they don't. They just back away. As soon as Order kind of left their range of vision, their wards in the lane and in the jungle, they do just back off from the play. They don't commit too hard. Baron spawning in a minute, maybe. Pressure drawn towards the other side of the map.
When was the last time you saw a Wit's End, Bryce?
In LCK.
Really?
Yep.
Same build?
On Nah, yeah. Absolutely. And that hurts in this situation for Mimic because he just has to team fight.
Yep.
He has no ability to sit in the side lane. Wit's End has the magic resist, and the Black Cleaver paired with that means he will just demolish Tally in the side lane if he ever gets time. Maybe now at this point where he has a stopwatch and 3 items, it's not a demolish, it's more like a soft tap from a boomerang, but
do you think
really
it deserves a segment on a Not That Bad?
Wit's End?
Yeah.
What did you say earlier in the day? What's your current one this week?
So I did Rylai's last week.
Yeah, I'm blanking on what you said. You've definitely already claimed one, so it's going to have to be a next week job. And we both don't know what it is.
I'm sick.
Someone help.
Swifties,
boots.
yeah, they're not that bad.
It just came back to me. It just came back to me as Order going to take down another turret.
Yeah, Ocean Dragon is available on the bottom side of the map if they want to go for it. However, Baron also up in 17 seconds.
Probably
come on, get Tally the 3rd Ocean.
A much bigger objective on the top side of the map.
Tally has a Knight's Vow.
He does. I mean, if FBI if FBI is dashing so far into the backline, he's probably breaking the tether at a certain point. The range isn't enormous between the two. But Legacy look like they want to contest. Pings are going out, but they might just be too late. This is going to drop fairly quick. That's a Kai'Sa. Aurelion Sol, that's just gone.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now, all of a sudden, Rogue into the backline will get torn up, but Bounties is broken, and he gets all 3 members. FBI in the backline, now looking for a shockwave, only just tickles him, and he takes no damage. Mimic trying to run away, just throws the air, will get knocked up. Aurelion Sol over the wall. Mimic, a very nice flash, but this feels like an inevitability, and the rest of Order don't even care. Mimic will fall down, and Tally will grab it, and that will be Order pushing in for the win.
The perfect engage in the choke point. Ornn slows everyone, allows Ali to get back in with the Ram on the backside. CC across the board. Shockwave, as you mentioned, hits one, but it's just not enough.
It certainly is not, and in 28 minutes, Order will break the Nexus wide open and pick up game number 1.
The caveat is if they hit the Nexus, then they will. Take a little bit longer. Try to pad the stacks. There's no PP to play for anymore, so don't know why they're doing it. They're not going to get a kill, but does put a few more seconds onto the scoreboard. And if we think about how that game started, it was actually a very good start from Legacy.
That was a great game plan. We say this about Only a lot. He is a little bit of a wind-up toy. You point him in a direction, you give him a plan, he goes and gets his man most of the time.
And he looked very good doing it, displaying the Nidalee mechanics, you know, with the Wraith Camp hop into the red buff steal, and he had spooks on lock in the early game. Unfortunately, Legacy's game plan fell apart. Like a few minutes later, they couldn't keep the Taliyah down, and Nidalee wants to do that. Once she gets a lead, she's super punishing. She just clears so quick once she finishes the jungle item and just kind of puts your camps on cooldown quicker than you can get there.
Well, the thing is, right, is if you take double red buffs at the start of the game and get first blood, and one of your lane wins, you have a lot of power as Nidalee.
Yep.
The problem is that he got that, and then all 3 of his lanes were struggling. Even Mimic on the Gnar wasn't denying farm, wasn't doing turret damage. It wasn't like a 50% turret health or any big trade at that point in the game. Tally was just able to sustain through that very easily.
And that's the thing, because it's not like the super early levels that you worry about as an Ornn, and we're seeing tanks, specifically Ornn and the Mundo, going back to Spellbook to try and have some agency in the lane when you can swap to the heal to just heal you back up, when you can swap to the Ignite and actually have decent kill threat in those matchups, so they're not as bad as they used to be.
Ghost in the bottom lane to trade the kill out on Only. If he didn't have that, probably can't get it.
So unfortunately, Legacy, as you mentioned, very good game plan executed early, but the fact that Nidalee by herself isn't that much of a threat. Nidalee with a winning lane, with some CC that can set something up, is a huge threat, and they just didn't have it. And as soon as that fell apart, it just looked like across the board, Order had control.
However, we have seen this before. Order, in both of the times these teams met, I believe, did take game number 1. So Legacy still have a chance to hit back after this break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll have game number 2 of Legacy versus Order.
Patch 8.14 is finally here, and we only have a minute, so let's go. First, a bunch of champions got buffed, got nerfed, but none were really that impactful, so didn't change much. Next, funnels are pretty much dead. New changes to Machete and Talisman mean that if you're the guy getting the highest total gold in the game, aka the guy getting funneled, then you get almost no gold from lane minions. Also, Teleport got significantly nerfed, with every Tom, Dick and AD carry taking TP, and the Summoner being used mostly just to secure farm instead of fight, it's getting a minute added to the cooldown. Top laners will probably still take it, mid laners that want it can still opt in, but I expect traditional AD carries to trend back to heal, and for bot lane mages to drop in priority. We did have some sweet new Samsung Galaxy World skins, and a brand new Cursor skin as well. And if you've ever wanted to buy a Poro on Summoner's Rift, well, you still can't. But you can certainly get one in your trinket slot with the new changes to Ghost Poro. Thanks to Hungry Jacks, you can win a trip for 2 to the 2018 World's Grand Final in Korea. To enter, head to os.lolesports.com/worlds-trip and fill out your details. The trip includes flights, transfers, accommodation, and tickets to the 2018 World's Grand Final. All thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Swiffer walking forward, trying to cancel out, will actually be able to do so. That's everyone going over the wall. Gen ulti coming out, Tally's already here. Deku will go down. They throw the Ornhorn at only. That's a Hex Flash over a wall, and that is a dead 80 carry. Meanwhile, they knock up Claire. Is the ultimate available for the slow? It is, and Tally's just sprinting forward, gets the knock up. That's a double kill. Now Decoy has to go golden, but you can just see how long these takes. Can stay under the turret. It is doing nothing to Tally. Tally onto the back line again, looking to take him out, and will be able to do so. Mimic, meanwhile, is trying to fight the back line. Cannot get anything done. Will get a stun into the wall, but will fall. And now you have Tally, who is just unkillable, chasing down Raid. The knock-up registers, only has to flash away. Flash headbutt pole, very nice shockwave, but already FBI into the back line. Is tearing Legacy apart. That's already a double kill. Make it a triple from Mimic, and he gets all three members. FBI in the back line, now looking for a shockwave, only just tickles him, and he takes no damage. And in 28 minutes, Order will break the Nexus wide open and pick up game number 1.